Good morning, friends. This is Parthiban, Assistant Professor of English, Government Arts College, Karur. Today, we are going to deal with the poem Because I Could Not Stop for Death by Emily Dickinson. Now, I give you a few lines about the poet Emily Dickinson. Emily Dickinson's poems are mainly concerned with death. Since the days of her poetic career, she was interested in death. The poem was published in 1863 and believed to be written between 1855 and 1863. These are the years in which Emily Dickinson wrote mostly intensely. It is easy to see why she felt familiar with death. Dickinson also lived near a cemetery, so she watched many people, even loved ones, riding in a hearse to their final resting places. This is a likely inspiration for the setting of this poem. First, let us look at the message of this poem briefly. The poem, Because I Could Not Stop for Death, contains Emily Dickinson's meditation on death and immortality. She imagines death as a person taking her out for a ride. The ride is a lost ride. They drive in a leisurely manner. The poetess is at ease. She thinks that death is very polite to her because death has stopped for her when she was too busy to think of him. The hearse passes by certain scenes which are representatives of the different stages of life. The children playing at recess are observed in their games. They do not even look up at the passing herds. The poetess says symbolically that mankind shows interest in childish activities, paying no attention to the phenomenon of death. The stare in the death traveler's eyes is transferred to the grossing grain. Nature is also indifferent to death. The poetess then says that the herds passed the setting sun. However, she corrects herself and says the setting sun passed the herds. The sun set symbolizes the soul's passing. The poetess fancies that her dead body is dressed in fine gossamer clothes. Her cap is made of fine muslin silk called tulle. These details imply that she is dressed up like a bride. It appears as though death escorts her to heaven. The hearse takes the poetess to a strange place. The poetess understands that the house with its scarcely visible room and its cornice close to the ground is nothing but her grave. Most of Emily Dickinson's love poems are concerned with a celestial betrothal. The poetess in her fine dress is going to be married to God. Thus, the theme of death is given an erotic touch. Now, I would like to read this poem for you. Because I Could Not Stop for Death by Emily Dickinson. Because I could not stop for death, he kindly stopped for me. The carriage held but just ourselves and immortality. We slowly drove, he knew no haste, and I had put away my labor and my leisure too, for his civility. We passed the school where children strove at recess in the ring. We passed the fields of grazing grain. We passed the sun setting, or rather, he passed us. The dew drew quivering and chill, for only gossamer my gown, my tippet only to lay. We passed before a house that seemed a swelling of the ground. The roof was scarcely visible, the cornice in the ground. Since then, these centuries and yet feels shorter than the day. I first surmised the horses' heads were toward eternity. What a beautiful poem by Emily Dickinson. Next, we see the themes of the poem. There are several important themes in Because I Could Not Stop for Death. The most obvious of these are morality and death. What makes these poems take on these two themes so interesting is that they are depicted from a position of immortality. The speaker is already in the life when she is describing her experiences with death. This leads into another theme, immortality. This is part of the reason why the speaker is so calm throughout the majority of the poem. Now we see the tone and mood of the poem. This poem has a very distinct tone and mood. The tone is the voice of the poet. Speaker in the poem is calm and measured. She is aware of what is happening around her, but is not overly emotional about it. This is maintained throughout the first few stanzas until the speaker gets closer to death. This is when things start to shift a little and the tone becomes more sinister. This is seen through words like chill and quivering. The last lines bring back in the pace of the first parts of the poem, as the speaker matter-of-factly states that the heart's heads are pointed towards eternity. The mood of a poem is the emotional experience that the poet is attempting to create for the reader. It is what the reader should feel while reading and after finishing the poem. In case of this particular poem, the one and mood are tied together. A reader likely feels similar to the speaker as the recounts what happened to it. Next, let us see the structure and form of the poem. Because I Could Not Stop for Death by Emily Dickinson is a 6-stanza poem that is divided into sets of 4 lines known as quatrains. These quatrains do not follow a single rhyme scheme, although there are examples of perfect rhyme in the poem. For example, me, immortality, and civility in the first 2 stanzas. The matter is much more consistent. It resembles a regular metrical pattern. The first and third lines are made up of 4 sets of 2 beats, or a total of 8 syllables. The first of beats is unstressed and the second is stressed. This is unknown as iambic tetrameter. The second and fourth lines also use iambs, but there are only 3 sets of 2 beats in each line. This is known as iambic trimeter. Now we see the message of the poem. Because I could not stop for death. Stanza 1. Because I could not stop for death, he kindly stopped for me. The carriage held but just ourselves and immortality. In Emily Dickinson's poem, Because I Could Not Stop for Death, the author personifies death, portraying him as a close friend or perhaps even a gentleman shooter. In the first stanza, she reveals that she welcomes death when she says, "He kindly stopped for me." The pleasant tone of the poem further suggests that the author is quite comfortable with death. Stanza 2. We slowly draw he knew no haste, and I had put away my labor and my leisure too, for his civility. The carriage ride is symbolic of the author's departure from life. She is in the carriage with death and immortality. She reveals her willingness to go with death when she says that she had put away labor and leisure too for his civility. This further reveals that the author has come to terms with her own morality. She has set down all she wanted to do in life and willingly entered the carriage with death and immortality. She may be aware that had she not gone willingly, they would have taken her captive nonetheless. But this does not seem to alter her perception of the two characters as kind, thoughtful, and even gentle. This is portrayed as death drives slowly for her, allowing her to reminiscence. He knew no haste as they drove. He takes her through the course of her life with a slow and patient ride. Immortality rides along but is silent. Stanza 3. We passed the school where children strove at recess in the ring. We passed the fields of gassing grain. We passed the setting sun. They drive past the school where the children strove, implying that the author is generously given a few moments to remember her childhood. They then drive past the gassing grain, allowing the author to think back upon the prime of her life. Then they pass the setting sun. This symbolizes the author's death. The sunset is beautiful and gentle, and the passing from life to eternity is portrayed as such. Stanza 4. Or rather, he passed us, the dews grew quivering and chill, for only gossamer my gown, my tippet only to lay. There is a sudden shift in tone in the fourth stanza. Suddenly, now that the sun has set, the author realizes that she is quite cold and she shivers. Then she becomes aware that she is underdressed. Prior to this moment of realization, the author felt quite comfortable with death and immortality. After all, she was riding along with them in only her gossamer and her tippet only tulle, or in other words, in only a sheer nightgown. In the first through third stanzas, the author is on close affectionate terms with death and immortality. Describing death as a gentleman shooter who is kind and civil, she shows no shame at being underdressed. However, when the sun sets and the cold damp sets in, she becomes aware of her inappropriate attire. Stanza 5. We passed before a house that seemed a swelling off the ground. The roof was scarcely visible, the cornice but a mound. In her moment of realization that she has been seduced by death, they pass before her new home, a swelling of the ground. She claims that the roof was scarcely visible and the cornice but a mound. The tone becomes one of disappointments as the author realizes that death is not all she thought it would be. Now, as the sun has set on her life and she is standing before her new forever home, disappointment sets in. Death was kind and gentle, like a gentleman shooter. He lured her in with a grandiose promise of eternity. Now that she sees her small, damp, eternal home, she feels cheated. Stanza 6. Since then, this centuries and yet each feels shorter than the day. I first surmised the horses' heads were toward eternity. It has It has now been centuries, and yet each feels shorter than a day as life goes on without her. It has been centuries since that moment of realization when she first surmised that death had seduced her, that he had appeared a kindly gentleman at first, but had left her alone in the dark, cold, damp grave. Concluding lines. Because I could not stop for death makes it very clear that Dickinson, at some point in her life, viewed death as something sweet and gentle. She welcomed death perhaps because of the idea that she would be only passing from this life to somewhere better. We have listened to one such beautiful poem that was written by Emily Dickinson, Because I Could Not Stop for Death. I hope you would all have enjoyed this poem. Definitely. Thank you.